What's going on, YouTube? Today is another day. At the library. Obviously, I'm continuing to study. But today, I guess I just wanted to talk about my time as a roofer when I used to be a roofer a few years ago. And it was really interesting. I learned a lot. I met a lot of new cool people. It was a scary job. So I remember at the time we had just moved to Texas, and essentially, we were looking for jobs and whatever. I think this is like back in 2022. And so I saw this job posting, right? It was super ridiculous. Like, it was like, it said roofer, and then it said like you can make 150,000 a year or 200,000 a year, right? But the young me doesn't really know what's really going on. So I end up applying for the job, right? I'm thinking I'm gonna become like a millionaire or something, right? And when I do get the job, I get the call, I get super excited, and I'm finally there, and I give a good impression, and I get the job. Obviously he's telling me that, like, hey, listen, if you don't sell stuff, then you don't get paid, and this sort of thing. I thought I was gonna be able to do that shit. I thought I was just gonna like figure it out or something, right? Which is what I think most people would say. But here's the thing about sales, right? Sales is something that like you can't just learn over a period of a month or 2 months or 3 months, right? Different people go at different paces. Some people get it the first time. Others take years to be able to develop that like sales guy strategy. But not for me. I was that guy that essentially I had to do the process and I had to experience it in order for me to be able to actually learn what it is that I had to do. But here's the thing about me. I'm a very nervous person. And since I'm so nervous, like, stuff just becomes harder for me to learn. Because in order for you to get experience, you need to be sociable. Especially if you have clients and you're talking to the homeowners, right? So every day it was like a battle, right? Like every day it was like you show up to work, right? And then you would get taught a little lesson about some book and some quote, some bullshit of that sort. At least in the agency that I used to work with. And they would just tell you, hey, look, listen, just go out there and figure it out. Which is a terrible thing to do, obviously, right? But they ended up managing to give me one of the guys that was there for about 3 months or so. And he was really good at sales. He told me that he used to work for Solar, and then he worked for other companies, and he ended up in there and roofing. So he had plenty of experience on sales. The thing is that, like, he wanted to stay alone, and it was for good reason. People didn't want to learn, or maybe it was just that they didn't know, and it required too much time and effort and patience to be able to teach sales to a new guy, While the main guy or the main manager of the building who was operating the whole thing, he was just giving us like speeches and whatever. Like, he wasn't necessarily a good teacher, or he didn't necessarily teach any of us how to sell. It was mostly like he would grab someone who excelled selling, and he would grab that person, and then that person would teach other people, and that's how it would work, right? But here's the thing, that's an awful thing to do, right? Because even though the person might excel at selling and whatever, right, he has to make a lot of deals, and he has to be able to know how to teach this. Because if he doesn't know how to teach it, then it becomes harder for the next person to be able to imitate what he does. So over a period of time, to make the story short, we ended up knocking on doors, and it was a huge challenge. Because essentially you would have to knock into strangers' doors, and that would freak me out a lot. Because since I'm a nervous person, then it's hard for me to be sociable. It's hard for me to like, I'm an introvert, it's like, I don't like knocking on strangers. Like, no one likes knocking on strangers' doors, right? And it's hot out there. Like, you're going from door to door, And most of the time, people hate you because you're a roofer. Not because it's personal, but because they think you're that guy who showed up to their door about a month ago, who gave him a terrible impression. Or some people just had bad experiences with different roofers. Or maybe roofing is just a really scummy industry. I don't know. I certainly don't think that the work I was doing was scummy. I don't think I was trying to like take advantage of someone to be able to make profit, even though that's the main goal, to be able to sell a roof to someone, to be able to earn commission. But I despised it a lot. And the reason being is because, or something that I learned from roofing, is that you want the customer to go to you. You don't want to have to go to the customer, because if it's the other way around, it more than likely it won't work. The only reason why someone would want your service is because they're looking for that service, or that should be the goal. You're not trying to convince someone to get you to get them a new roof. It should be the other way around. They should have a necessity, and that necessity should be the reason why you are able to give them a new roof. Is to be able to help that pain that they have. You know, the customer's pain is essential, right? Because if they have a pain and you can solve that pain, then that's how you should be able to earn your commission, through that. If they trust you enough, if you give them a good impression and they think that you're a professional, then 9 times out of 10 they're gonna be able to go with you. But here's the thing, I'm not like professional at this yet, so it's like really hard for me to be able to get more skin in the game and whatever. And the even harder part is that you're competing against people who have done this for like years. Essentially, roofing in 2025, if you're a beginner, is not a good idea. Reason being is because you need a lot of experience, and the only way you get experience is through failing. And the only way you can fail is if you already have money to be able to help you to get back up, or you gotta have like a side job and this is like a side thing, or you have a main job and then you do this as a side thing. That is the only way you can possibly get experience from roofing, and it's horrible. Like, I would not recommend it to anyone, unless you're part of the 1% who's able to get people to buy roofs from you, or you're able to sell people stuff to people like easily, then yeah. But like what I'm saying is that it's not for everyone. And if you're ever desperate for getting a job or whatever, consider going to a government job. Maybe corporations are here to take advantage of you. Maybe it's better to work for the government. But in short, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you kind of learned a lesson, so that you won't ever have to do door to door. Door to door is an awful job. Thank you for watching.